It seems that the earth appears both ancient and new at the same time, which is one of the ways that we're given free will. Of course, free will in and of itself is limited. I'm not free to do whatever I want, but I am free to choose what I believe. Facts or emotions, I could believe my emotions, I could believe facts, I could believe neither or both. When the Torah speaks of choice, when it says if, this is one of the areas we have freedom to choose and still be dati. We could choose. We're choosing to be in the realm of the Shomer Shabbat, Shomer Mitzvot world. It's a choice. You could also choose not to do those things. And the Torah does lay out consequences, as does halacha. But about the age of the universe and about the age of the earth, it really has zero consequences or zero impact on what we do with what we see and what we experience. Meaning the fact if the earth actually is billions of years old does not impact any of the halachot that could be found in any sefer of Jewish law written by any of the poskim. It's an interesting philosophical discussion, but has no ramifications on Jewish law. And one other point, nobody was around at the beginning, at Bereshit or at the Big Bang. Adam Rishon was created according to the Torah on the sixth day, not on the first. And everything, even the scientists say we can't recreate the beginning. So there's no way to actually do an experiment to find out what really happened. So both systems, scientific and religion, are going on faith, on suppositions and assumptions, and best guesses based on data and Mesorah. I personally think that there was a beginning. So do the scientists, by the way. So it's not like I'm making such a big, big statement here. There was a beginning. Matter of fact, it's almost impossible to discuss the universe without saying there was a beginning, which is a relatively new thing because up until the scientific community came with all the data supporting a beginning, i.e., a Big Bang, philosophically, and this is discussed in many, many Sepharim, Jewish Sepharim, philosophically, you could come to the conclusion that the universe always existed. That's not what our Mesorah says, but you could philosophically understand where Aristotle and others came to the idea that the universe never had a beginning. And the Kuzari talks about this, Yehuda Halevi, and many other people who discuss this idea within the Jewish world. And then once you get to the data that started being collected in the late 40s and 50s and 60s about the universe, supporting the idea that there is a beginning, i.e., a Big Bang, it became almost impossible to say that there wasn't a beginning. Now, of course, they say 4 billion, and we say 5,700 years ago, and that's obviously a great deal of difference between those two prepositions. And really, Judaism only stands on, stands on Mesorah, with the strength of our statement that the universe is, or at least the earth is, or at least humanity is 5,700 plus years old, is based on our Mesorah. Plain and simple. We don't really have, because Moses Rabbeinu wasn't there at the time of Bereshit or on the sixth day. And we say he wrote the Torah, and that means he wrote the beginning of the Torah, which means he wrote Bereshit, Genesis, as we call it. and he, according to the Dati version, he wrote it dictated by God. So all the information he received before he was born, he had to rely on the source of that information, be it, according to the Torah deniers, he didn't even exist, but that there was this group of people who redacted it later and wrote it down, which, I don't agree with that supposition and positions. On the Mesorah side, Moses Rabbeinu received all this information um, after he was born, many decades after he was born. He didn't even receive the calling from Hashem until he was well past 60 years old, 70 years old, 80 years old, something like that. I don't have the exact text in front of me. But the point is he didn't grow up with the Mesorah. He grew up in the house of Paro. So he didn't even receive the Mesorah from his own parents. Anyways, there's a big discussion about this, and to continue, but to cut this a little bit brief, I just want to say it seems that we can't just anything that we say about the beginning of the world or the universe is really a belief. It's like even if you have scientific data, you're still having to believe in data that you still have to believe the data. You have to choose to believe it, or you could choose to ignore it. You could choose to say it's falsified or whatever you want to say. But on some level, it has we can't really call it a religion, so to speak, but it has an element of belief, and that's something that I think is an interesting thing to think about.